Hello, nations. Thank you for tuning in to My Me Moments, Moments Made Evident. I tell you, God is such an awesome God, and I want to share a word with you on today. I tell you, this may resonate with a lot of you of where you are right now in your life, but your pruning season is over. Yeah, yeah. Now, some of you may not be where others are right now. There are some of you that are coming out of a season that you know that you've been going through some changes and some things have been taking place with you, inside you, and God is just saying your pruning season is over, but yet some of you may just be going into your pruning season and you don't know what's happening and you don't quite understand. But I want to share with you what God has given me. And it's like maybe the past few weeks, maybe the past few months, some of you may have been feeling a certain way. You know that there's something different going on with you, maybe on the inside of you, around you. There's just been something that wasn't the same, in your life. You know how sometimes we can sense and feel that God is about to do something, with you or in your life. You feel a change coming, about to take place, or maybe you feel a shift that's about to take place in your life, and there's just some things where you just been feeling uncomfortable, or you felt quieter, you know you just know that something was different. There was a something unfamiliar taking on, maybe within you or around you. And I tell you, God has been pruning you. Yeah, you have been in a pruning season. And pruning is, where you trim something off or you're cutting away something, like a plant. You have a plant or a flower and those leaves on it, maybe some dead leaves, and you got to cut those leaves off in order for that plant to continue to grow or that flower to bloom the way that it needs to. And I came across this profound definition of pruning season. And I want to share this with you. And I'm going to read it. And it says, a pruning season. This is a divine process of removing unproductive habits, relationships, or mindsets to develop great spiritual maturity and fruitfulness. A pruning season is designed to refine character, to deepen your dependence on God, and to align your life with God's will. Oh my God. That's what God has been doing with you and in you. He's been pruning you, And I said pruning was trimming and cutting away or cut off. And as women, when we get our hair done or, we're doing our hair, we got to make sure that we trim our ends. We take the ends and we cut them. We cut those dead ends off. And that's what we have to do in order for our hair to grow the way that it needs to grow. Yeah, yeah. So we've been cutting off those dead things, those dead ends. And so that's what God has been doing. He has to cut back some things or cut away some things out of our life. He will remove what no longer produces fruit so that greater growth can come through our life. That's what's been happening. When you have dead things or dead ends, those things won't allow you to grow. And you wonder, why you feel stagnated, why things seem like it's not moving. Well, God knows when it's time to prune us. He knows when it's time to purge us. Yeah, to get some things away, to cut off some things, some stuff, or people. God will remove sin. He'll remove bad habits or even some people from around us. Yes, he will. And it's not because they were bad or anything like that. They may have just been a distraction. Yeah. And, we start to notice that people don't call or come around like they used to, or you don't go out to eat with friends or relatives. You used to always go out and always going here, going there, but God will remove that stuff, or he'll cut back, or he'll pull you back, and it wasn't anything that they did or even anything that you did. God is just saying, okay, I need to prune you. He says, I need to separate you. And that's what he's doing. He will separate us. He will pull us apart. He will pull us out of the presence of, a lot of people or doing a lot of things. And he's saying that I need you to be still. Yeah. I needed your attention. Yeah. There are some things that he wants to teach us, during this time, during this pruning season. Yeah. He says, you going here, there, you running over here, you over there, you doing this, you doing that. But I had to separate you so that you could get still. Yeah. He wants us to be still and know that he is God. There's some things that he wants to teach us. There's some things that he wants us to learn. We need to know during this time, and he says, I want to teach you how to hear me clearly. And that's what he does when he gets us in a still place, when he isolates us. It's not just to keep us from, not doing nothing, being still, but we got to allow God to come in and purge us, allow him to come in and cut off some things, clip off some things, remove some bad habits and all of this stuff. He wants to nurture us during that time. We need more water, he says, and he wants to pour more into us. But he have to get us in a place of stillness and quietness, where there's no distractions. And that's what he's doing. He wants our spirit to grow more. That's what he needs, our spirit to grow more. So he had to pull us out of our comfort zone, because we was really comfortable in doing what we were doing and running here, running there, And so there were too many distractions. There was a lot of noise. He had to get us away from the noise, away from, the chitter chatter, and away from the hustle and the bustle and running to this place and running to that place or conference or wherever you were just being busybody, not, too much was going on. So God says, I had to pull you out of your comfort zone. I had to pull you out of that noisy place. I had to pull you so that you could be still. You may have had people around you, that seemed like that they were walking with you. Yeah, but actually you were walking in different directions. They don't really want the life that you are seeking after. You going hard after God, and they're just going through the motions. And so I did a video maybe a few weeks ago about friends in disguise. And it was titled Familiar and Monitoring Spirits in Disguise. Disguised as friends. Familiar and monitoring spirits disguised as friends. Go back and watch that or listen to it, because some people are sent into our lives and some are planted by the enemy to block and hinder us, to keep us from moving into purpose. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's trying to block us because he knows who we are. He knows that we've got a great purpose. And so he will send people in. They want to keep us from growing, to keep our fruit from growing. And when the enemy sends people, they will appear to be your friend. Yeah, they will appear to want to help you, or help you grow and build your vision. And then you begin to confide in them, only to realize that they are there to hinder or block your process. Yeah, they were on assignment. And they were infiltrators sent to sabotage your purpose. So God knows, and he sees what we can't see. So he has to prune us. He has to pull us back. He's got to pull us out. He's got to pull us away, so that we can get still and hear him. And so he can begin to teach us some things and show us some things. When we get still and quiet and talk to God and allow him to download things to us, he will show us people. He will show us who's really for us and who's not. Yeah. So in this pruning season, God was trimming things back that hindered us. Yeah. That was holding us back. Those things that were blocking and stunning our growth. He was cutting away the old stuff, the old habits, the old ways, the bad attitudes, gossiping and negative thinking. Even sometimes we were thinking negative about ourselves. He has to prune us so that we can be in a place spiritually. We can begin to grow spiritually. Yeah, he was pruning us because he's taking us into a new season. Yeah. A new realm, a new dimension. Because we can't stay in that same low frequency that we were once in. We can't do the things the way that we used to last year. Not even 3 years ago or 5 years ago. God is wanting to take us to another dimension in him. So we can't stay in that same level that we were on. And so that's why he has to prune us and cut away some stuff and, cut off some things and people out of our life because they were hindering us. They were a distraction, and we couldn't get to the place that God wanted us to get. Yeah. So he had to prune and cut off those dead ends so that new growth can come in. Yeah. So more fruit can come in. So new fruit can come in. New doors can open. New opportunities can come forth. And new people can come into our life. Yeah, people that God has assigned to help you move into purpose. Yeah, that's what he's doing. That's the season that you've been in. So know that you are in preparation. Yes, you are. God is preparing you for something, or he has something prepared for you. So he had to set you apart to position you to receive what he has for you. Yeah. So don't get discouraged. You know, allow God to do what he does. He knows what to do. He knows when to do it because he's got a set time for our lives, you know, for the purpose that he's put on the inside of us. So pruning is necessary for something to grow. Yes, it is. And in John 15:2, I want to read that from the Passion Translation. It says, he cares for the branches connected to me by lifting and propping up the fruitless branches and pruning every fruitful branch to yield a greater harvest. Ah, my God. And that is what happens once we are pruned, once we've been pruned, once God has cut off all the things that don't belong, you know, he's trimmed and cut back people and things and habits and all of those things that are not necessary, that won't help us to grow. When he prunes us, now, oh my God, we are ready for greater. Greater things can come in. Greater, like it said, a greater harvest, you know, greater growth. You can grow spiritually now. So, if this has resonated with you and you know that you've been in a strange season, a strange time in your life that you couldn't figure out, you knew that God was doing something, you know, your pruning season is over. And for those of you that may just be going into your pruning season, you feel a change in you, you feel a shift, you feel like people are scattering, you know, your friends, you don't do things the way you used to, you don't go to places you used to go. God is pruning you. God is saying, I'm pulling you out of your comfort zone. I'm pulling you into a place of quietness. I'm pulling you into a place of stillness so that I can teach you some things, so that you can grow on a higher level than what you've been on. So if has been happening to you, don't fight against it. Even when, you know, those of you just going into it, don't fight it. Allow it to happen. Just get still and say, okay, God, I'm surrendered. What is it that you need for me to learn? You know, what are the lessons? What is it that you want to pour into me? You know, because he wants you to grow, and that's what it's all about. He wants us to receive the greater that he has for each one of us, you know. So don't fight against it. Let God in. Let him come in. Let him do what he does best. He knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And if it's happening to you because it's time, there's a reason and a season, and God is saying, come on in. Come on. He's going to reel you in. And he's been reeling us in for such a time as this. So let his glory flow through you. You know, let his glory flow within you. Yeah, he wants to heal deliver and set his children free. Yes, he does. Let his characteristics flow through you. The love, the joy, the peace, the kindness, the goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. All of those characteristics are his attributes, and that's what he wants us to be, just like him. Yeah, because we were made in his image. And now there's time. This is the time that he's saying, okay, it's time. It's time. This is it. So your pruning season is over. Amen. I pray that this was a blessing to you and it was an enlightenment to you, even to those that may not know, what's been going on. And I just thank God because he will reveal everything that we need to know. So don't fight against it, the pruning season.